In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Nash Titan Hide Pro bivvies, whether it be the camo version, the green, the standard or the XL. From setup times to pack down times, to internal space, to materials, to vents, to clips, to vapor shields, it's all in here. So if you're looking at getting one of these bivvies, unsure which one to go for, whether you want the Carpy green or the standard, the tall or the small, everything is going to be in this video.
Yeah, but is it a giveaway?
It's also a giveaway, yes. That's why a lot of you have clicked on it, I'm sure. The two bivvies with me today are the Hide Pro Camo and the Hide Pro XL. Now the difference being is the size with that, but also the material used. Now they both feature the same type of material, which I'll get onto later on, but the main difference being is this one's camo, that one's green, but they are also both available in each other's material. So this one can come in the green and that one can come in the camo. So that's completely down to personal preference. But before I got them to this stage, of course, I had to put them up. So let's go back in time and see how easy they were to erect. Firstly, the bag it comes in. Now this is the Camo Pro standard size, so the smaller one that we're most used to seeing, and this comes in at 6.5 kilos. If you go for the XL version, which obviously is slightly bigger, you're coming in at 8.4 kilos. So there's about a 2 kilo difference there, just in standalone weight to start with. The bag itself is in the lovely camo pattern that we've come to see from Nash over the last few years, and you've also can see that there's excess space in a bag. Finally, companies are listening to anglers' issues with getting a bivvy back into their original bag. They used to come in such tiny pack downs, and some companies still do. If you are one of those companies, please, bigger bivvy bags. And that's what we can see here. 2 tension straps, loosen that off. You can see just how much space is in there, because I know this is not going to go in as tightly as it's compact right now, because this genuinely hasn't been out of its bag yet. So what you're about to see is initial opening up. Another thing to pick up on this bag is that there's 2 mesh vents either side of the zip. I can only assume that's for letting excess water out. So if you put your bivvy away damp or wet, because not everyone has time to dry out a bivvy completely, put it in here wet. It should allow some of that moisture to evaporate out and get out of the bag, rather than completely keeping itself inside. And also, when you tighten it down, it means that the air can just escape from that bag nice and easily. Tension that down, you haven't got any air pockets, it just seeps out nice and easily, so it packs down nice and small. So that's the bag. That's enough talking about a bag, isn't it? Open it up, let's see what we've actually got inside. Of course, we've got the bivvy itself, and there shouldn't be too much to go with it, because one thing that I know about hides is that we don't have loads of storm poles, loads of different things to put things together. You've got a repair kit and a manual. Going to put that to one side, and then the bivvy itself, hopefully that just undoes, and here we go. Now this genuinely is the first time this has been out of the bag. I had my hands on one of the original hides several years ago. Oh, we've got some more packaging on the clips, proof that I'm not making it up. I'll have to get that off camera. Oh, there we go. I had my hands on one of these a few years ago when I did some photos for the magazine, but that's genuinely the one and only time I've ever had my hands on one and put this up. Now they claim that this is one of the fastest erecting bivvies on the market and can be done in under a minute. That's probably after a bit of practice, but what we're going to do now is rejig the cameras, set this up and see just how quickly I can put this up. That's pretty much my first ever time of doing so. Okay, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a head start by putting that pole together, but that's pretty much all I'm going to do. So I'll start the timer. Well, I can easily put a timestamp up on the camera just so I know how long it's taken, and go. Start. So the poles are one directional, there's only one way they can go in. That's probably the bit that's slowing me down a bit. I think this is the bit that you probably get faster at, is actually putting the poles in. But the flat section goes to the back like so. I think that's it. Fan it out, pull round. Clip in. I mean, it's freestanding in 43 seconds, the first time I've ever put this up. So that's impressive. Putting in some of these extra bits, this is all stuff you could do afterwards, but it's freestanding in less than a minute, so can't quibble with that. Genuinely the first time I've set one of these up, this exact one, I set one up, like I said, a couple of years ago, but first time in a long time, it's up freestanding in under a minute. That is impressive. Nice. Right, put the front peak in as well. Now that's something that's a little bit different as well. It's slightly angular, so it sticks upwards, and then there's a little clip that you put in there. and that keeps the front peak up and stops it from any rain sort of catching on the peak and dropping over. That's that done. I'm going to set the other one up now, put them side by side, and we'll start looking at each of them a bit more in depth. After setting this one up, as you saw, I had to put the XL up behind me, and I didn't time that one, but I do think it's probably even quicker than this one because I was used to how it had to go up. I knew that the poles then had to be in one certain orientation, so it absolutely flew up. And so it does go up in the time it states online, and when you're really used to it, it goes up in like 20 seconds to freestanding. So if you're looking for a bivvy that goes up ultra quick, it's belting down with rain, you get to the lake, you just want to chuck everything under and get it dry as quick as possible, then I really don't think you can beat it on the market. My personal bivvy isn't a hide, and I've always thought it's pretty quick to put up in good space and things, but compared to this, there is no comparison really. Very, very impressive on just how quick these bivvies go up and how stable they are without even having to put a single peg in. Of course, it takes a bit longer to then peg it all out, and I've also put the ground sheets in just for demonstration purposes. That takes a bit more time, but the main frame of it is, yeah, instant. Let's move on to the inside and take a look at how much space we get inside. Footprint wise, there's not a lot in it. I'm actually led on both the ground sheets at the moment, staring up at the sky, and there's probably some other members on the lake looking at me thinking, you forgot the top bit, especially as it's starting to spit with rain. But I'll quickly wrap this up before it does rain. You've got 10 centimeters difference from front to back between the smaller one and the XL. You've got 25 centimeters difference from the back left to back right, and 35 centimeters difference from front right to front left. So there really isn't a lot of difference when it comes to the footprints. If you're worried about the size of the bivvy getting too big from the standard hide to the XL and you're fishing in smaller swims, do not fear, because it's pretty much not going to be noticed. The difference between the two sizes of the bivvies comes when you step inside or sit inside and you've got different height. It is starting to rain, so I need to actually get them up. Once you've stooped into this bivvy, there is actually quite a good amount of space in here. I'm 6'1", getting in and out like that is the only way to get in, I'm afraid. If you're a bit shorter, it might be easier, but if you're any taller, you will be having to do some kind of front forward roll to get in. So that's something to be aware of. If you're someone that doesn't like having to crouch in and out of a shelter, not the one for you. I did do several years in a small shelter. My back just wasn't happy with it. So for me, I'd probably go for the XL, which we'll get onto in a second. But height-wise in here, it's 122 centimeters at its highest point in the middle where I am right now. So 6'1", sitting bolt upright, and I'm just starting to touch the vapor shield on the inside. So plenty of room to sit upright. But if I wanted to see the lake, I have to do that because unfortunately it does dip down a bit. So if you're one that likes to watch the lake all the time while sitting upright, probably not going to be ideal for you. You do have to stoop a little bit here, but from this position or led down, absolutely fine. So that's something to be aware of. But otherwise, space-wise in here, it's pretty good. It's a bit of a TARDIS because footprint-wise isn't huge, but because it goes straight up at the back and it's flat-backed, I can push my bed chair all the way to the back, which is an indulgence standard, so it's not a wide boy. You can fit a wide boy in here, but I don't think it would leave you with much leg room. You have got space to fit one up, but I think you'd be sitting about here and you'd probably end up getting wet knees if it did start to rain. So yes, you can, but probably wouldn't advise it. You may as well go for the XL if you want to get a bit more comfort. And if you're someone that's got a wide boy, odds are you're going to be a taller person, so that might be the option for you. But other than that, stacks of room for bags, buckets and things, so it will keep everything dry. And of course I get onto some additional features later on, or additions to buying these bivvies later on when it comes to infill panels, so you're nicely covered once you're in here. But if you're anything like me and you want a bit more headroom and a bit more space, then we'll jump over to the XL. Now that's easier to get in and out of, and that's because this one is a whole 30 centimeters higher than the standard. So this one comes in at 152 centimeters at its highest point, and I've actually jacked up my bed chair to its highest point, so the legs are fully extended, sat bolt upright, and I've still got headroom. So this is much more suitable for my personal taste and my personal needs. Straight away I can see the whole lake and even some of the sky. So even though I'm higher up in here as well and sitting more comfortably with my legs hanging a bit better, I can still see the whole lake. So much better vantage point to see the water. I'm more comfortable. So if this is something that you're more looking for, so a bit more space, a bit more headroom, then this is the one. But as you've already seen from the footprint size, there's barely any difference compared to the standard one. So if you're still fishing in smaller swims, you can still get away with this. It's just the height that's pretty much the main difference, other than 10, 15, 20 odd centimeters here and there, which you're not really going to notice in the real world. I've also got the ground sheet in once again. Both the ground sheets, I should mention, peg into place with the existing peg holes around the bivvy. So corner and the back, and then it's nice and pulled out tight, and also the very front as well. Perfect shape fitment for the inside of these as well. So it is a really nice heavy duty snug fit ground sheet, one that's not excess in one corner and not reach in the other. It fit in nicely. Same on the inside of this. We've got the vapor shield on the inside, which is worth mentioning actually before I carry on, is that on the previous models of the hides, the vapor shield only came with the XL version. Now it comes with the standard as well. So that's one of the additions to note. And even with that on, with the extra, the taking away some of the headroom with that vapor shield, I'm still nowhere near touching the roof of the, sorry, a fish has just rolled the other side of the pads I'm fishing. Exciting times. So hopefully one of those rods goes off at some point. And the reason I've done this bivvy second in the height comparison is because this is the one I'm going to opt for overnight, because I am doing the session overnight. So I'm going to choose this one. So if you're someone that's a bit taller, wants a bit more headroom, this is the one I would suggest you go for. If you like the sort of more enclosed, hunkered down, more discreet, maybe smaller just in weight as well, of course, it's worth mentioning it's about 2 kilo difference between the two, then that's the one you want to go for. But for me, this is me, nice and comfortable, still plenty of space ahead of me for buckets, a chair I could even fit in here, different bags and things, everything can go under as well, so plenty of space in here. And I still feel nice and sheltered as well because of that peak. I'm still quite a few feet from the front of the bivvy, plenty of protection from the elements. Again, we've got the 2 mesh pockets which are toggled into place there, fully removable of course, as with the vapor shield as well. The hook still here. So internally they look pretty much exactly the same, externally they look exactly the same, as long as you're going for the same materials of course. So it really is a case of personal preference when it comes to how much height you want on the inside. Back onto the outside, things pretty much look the same as they used to, but things have been improved and adapted, a few little additions as well. To start with, the material, as I mentioned, is now 10,000mm hydrostatic heads, so it's nice and waterproof, nice and thick. That's one of the things I noticed on the inside, is that it cuts out quite a lot of light. So if you like a bivvy that cuts out light, then these are very good for that. You've also got this rain gutter and a peak system, which just helps to hold that top bit up, easy to clip off and clip on, so you don't need it there all the time. But if the rain comes down, it could have a tendency to pool up there. So this little addition just clips into place there, back into place on this side, and then you've got a clip underneath which just latches onto the top of that, keeps it up, so if any driving rain, it will just naturally run down. There's no way of it pooling there, and this little rain gutter will also prevent anything from going over the lip and showering you when you're getting in and out of the bivvy. If we move back, follow the poles up to the spreader block, similar design or exactly the same principle on how it all goes up, poles together, pull round and then clip into these front points. As you saw just how quick it was to do, that's just been upgraded and made stronger and a much more efficient system. If we turn to the right here, we've also got on either side magnetic rod retaining straps. So rather than Velcro, which can lose its grip over time or whatever, these will never lose their grip, and they're also very quick and easy to use rather than being fiddly with Velcro, which it can be at times. The front completely toggles back. We've got toggles on the sides. If you wanted to unpeg those and put it back and make it even more open on the front, you can do so, and that's exactly the same over on the standard to the right, whether it's camo or green. All of those features are exactly the same. If we whiz around to the back, there's also some more additions to these bivvies. As we move around to the rear, one of the things you'll notice is that I'm now actually using one of the rod straps, and I'd love to say that was the result of a nice big carp after perfectly placing my rig next to the pads, but it wasn't. It was yet another tench, and there's not many in here, so a little bit peed off about that. That needs replacing. But the other big thing to notice is that both these shelters, whether it's the small or the XL, now have 4 Mozzi mesh panels all the way around, not just at the rear. So you've got 360 airflow all year round if you want to in those hot, sticky days, because if you have the front open, air can just flow through there nicely, keeping you nice and cool. They're easy to zip up or unzip, sorry. You've got zips either side, but it's not just Velcro. They're held in place by zips, which makes them stronger, and also means that they're not going to be sort of tight one side and loose the other. Some Mozzi mesh vents, you attach the Velcro perfect one side and then it's for some reason overhanging the other side. Shouldn't ever have that issue because it's got the zips. It keeps it the same every time you toggle them back down or toggle them up. So it's quite nice that you've got the airflow all the way around these shelters. If you're looking for a little bit more protection on the front side of things, you've got solid infill panels or Mozzi mesh infill panels, both available in the small and the large, in both the camo or the solid green version, and obviously the Mozzi mesh is a Mozzi mesh. They zip into place. I'm going to show you how simple that is. It comes with pegs as well, so you can peg the front down. It's got 4 pegs, so you can peg it all separately. You can even peg one side of the door down if you want to. This is a simple case of slotting the zip into the corresponding on the front. Bit fiddly with it all pegged out, and then there we go. Simple as that, and because it comes provided with or supplied with some pegs as well, Probably should have undone this before I started filming. There we go, a couple of pegs. Peg that down nice and tight. Like so. And you can also use the existing peg points on the door or from the bivvy, which I'm going to do now, just to hold that door to the side. Oh, hit my cap off. Do the same this side. That just pulls things nice and tight, like so. And as you can see, it's already nice and taut, easy to use the door, getting in and out. And I'm probably going to leave this on tonight because this place is infested with Mozzis even this early on in the year. So there you are. If you want a solid infill or a Mozzi mesh infill, both of those are additional extras to purchase. So as we know, the setup time really didn't take very long at all. It's freestanding in under a minute. But how long does it take to pack down? I haven't actually set my timer yet. Should probably start at that. I've taken out 3 pegs. But start from there. So I've taken off the infill panel because that's not something that everyone's going to have. That is an additional purchase. But how long does it take to take this down? So the pegs don't take long at all. Check them to one side. Take the peak off. Undo the velcros. Pop that out of there. Caught up on the ground sheet a little. Take off the tension strap. And there we go, we're down to just the folded sections. Fold the legs in. I've missed a leg somewhere. There it is. There we go. I know it's not in the bag, but from setup to down to this state, again, is a minute. So it really doesn't take long. I've then got to pack up the ground sheet, of course, but the bare essentials of just the bivvy itself, up and freestanding in under a minute, pack down to this in about a minute as well. So I don't think you can grumble about the speed of setup and pack down. And lastly, the prices. These are real world pricing from a quick Google, so this is the sort of price you can look to be paying for them. If you go for the standard in the green colour, you're looking at about $329.99. The camo version I've got with me today comes in at $379.99. Moving over to the XL in standard green, that's $379.99 as well. So these two, as they stand with no infill panels and everything, are the same price. So you're looking at the difference being the material and the slight size difference. And then if you go for this in the camo version like this, you're looking at $429.99. So that's the prices for the bivvies themselves. Ground sheets, infill panels, and Mozzi infill panels are all around the same sort of price from what I found, around the $64.99, $69.99, there or thereabouts. Of course, it's going to change differently if you're having the smaller panels or the larger panels, but that's what you're pretty much looking at. And lastly, don't think they're going to be needed, but if you wanted to, you can get storm poles for these, but they're so damn sturdy as they are. They really would be for the harshest conditions if you need to get storm poles for them, but I don't think you're going to need them. If you stuck around this long, fair play to you. I hope this has been helpful. But those of you that skip right to the end to find out how you can get your hands on one of these, this is how you can win them. All you got to do is type in the comment section below which one of these you want to win. So if you want to win this one, type in Nash Titan Hide Pro Camo. If you want to win this one, type in Nash Titan Hide Pro XL. That's all you got to do. And this is competition running on YouTube. So if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you shoot over to YouTube and comment that in the comment section below. And one of these is going to be making its way to you. If it's this one, I would have slept in it for one night. If it's that one, it should be as clean as it is right now. But that's everything from me for now. I hope you found this informative. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to us and follow us on all social media platforms coming up on your screen right now for regular and daily content. I'm about to put that rod back out because that stinking tench wiped me out right as there's fish showing as well. Absolute ball ache. Solid bags for the win though. It will get me a carp eventually.